Hey everybody, I'm Todd and this is Sweet Tea Guitars. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel and welcome to my life. Alright you guys, we left off in the last Uni build video. I had finished up carving some on the neck. We got the heel shape somewhat finalized. My headstock's ready to go. My fretboard's glued on. We're radiused. Everything's ready for that neck to be fretted. I don't want to fret the neck until I'm able to slide the neck down into the neck pocket, take a couple of measurements, and figure a few things out before we do that. I want to eliminate as many chances as I can of getting any little nicks or fingernail drags or anything like that on that fretboard before it gets frets put on it, you know. That way I can sort that out. What I'm planning on doing is I will fret that neck when we get ready to start the finish on the body. This episode is going to be all about the body blank and getting it prepped. We'll get the top set jointed and glued up and glued onto this body. And again, you guys, I have no preconceived plan about what I'm doing on this body. I have not even thought about shapes. I have made an executive decision, however. The top set that I was planning on using on this guitar, which was that insanely rippled curly maple set with the burl pins off to either side, that set got wet. It wasn't soaking wet, but it got enough water on it to where it caused it to cup a little. And I've dried that set out. I've got it under some weight over there. I'm hoping that'll flatten back out. It's not going to be that big of a deal. It's not cupped that bad. And I could honestly still use that on this build. But I got to thinking about some color choices, and I've talked to you guys already about spraying this guitar with a translucent candy finish over the top of some Angelus leather dye. So the one thing I have considered on this build is color that I plan to use for this thing. And what keeps coming to my mind is red. I've got the red heart in that neck. I've got the red heart obviously revealed in the front of the headstock. I've got a strip of red heart down the back of this body blank. As you guys can see, I tapered a piece of red heart down the body. I've got a tapered piece of red heart down the neck as well. I think these two things are going to tie in together very nicely. This is a beautiful body blank. So I think I've finally learned how to pronounce what this wood is right here. It's Amazique. I've been calling it a Mazacu because I don't know how to pronounce it. But anyway, Amazique is the name of this wood. I've got limba on the outsides, two pieces of that Amazique, and a center strip of red heart down the middle, separated by fumed eucalyptus on this side, and then some white bird's eye maple veneer separating the red heart and the Amazique. Beautiful body blank. While I was thinking about using that insanely curly maple top on this thing, and it is a beautiful top, you guys, don't get me wrong, but knowing that I'm thinking of going with a little bit darker color or a vibrant color like red will have a tendency to be, I don't want that figure to get lost. So I started to think about this, and I was going through all my top sets last night, organizing everything by species and color. And I came across a piece of wood that just spoke to me. It was the one that, you know, I looked at this and I was like, you know, since that other set got wet, why not use this piece? The color is perfectly white. It's going to take color very well. On top of that, the figure in this top is not going to get lost under the red. Now let me show you guys this top. I think you're going to be equally as impressed by this as you were that rippled curly maple. Check this out. So this is a piece, as you can see, look at that chatoyance in this wood. This is just sickening how beautiful this is. This is a piece of quilted maple that I got from Kimball Hardwoods. Thank you, Derek. I appreciate this, brother. I think this top in red is going to be so killer, you guys. The first thing we need to do is to make sure our body blank's prepped to be able to glue this top onto this wood. So what I'm going to do is we'll pan down over here. I'm going to take my number 4 hand plane. We're going to run it across the side that we want to glue the top to. We'll get this side prepped. I'll take you guys through the jointing, and I'll probably sand a little bit on the glue side of this top to make sure we've got a nice smooth finish and a nice gluable surface. That's not going to cause us problems if I decide to do bevel carves or anything like that. So we got some prep work to do on the top, but we can't do any of that before we get our body to the point that it needs to be. And we're just going to get after this. I want a nice smooth surface, and I want all those glue lines gone. And I'm just going to start working this surface until I've got a nice scratch pattern all the way across, and I get rid of those plane marks. It looks better. I think I will get out the random orbit sander. All right, let's draw up this body. All right, you guys, we're back. We're going to joint this top. I got my shooting board out. I got my number 6 plane out. I've taken some paraffin wax and just rubbed down the sole of my plane. It's ready to roll. I've done the same thing on the plane part of my shooting board where the plane rides. I'm not sure what they call that, but I'm going to take and orient this board. I've got a drawing of the body on there. I'm going to orient that board right side up with the belly of the guitar, the end of the guitar down here, neck facing that way. I'm just going to take the number 6 hand plane. I've got one long ribbon. I'm not even going to go any further than that right yet. I'm going to take my crimson leveling beam. Just to give myself a nice scratch pattern right there. We're going to call that good for now. It may not be, but we're going to call it good for now. I'm going to take my other piece and orient it the other direction. So I want this upside down. But what this is going to do is cancel out any little off 90 cut that we may have. I'll go 2 slices on this one. Same thing. Take our leveling beam. And all I'm doing by running that leveling beam down is creating in this case, a 180 grit scratch pattern on my seam. That's going to assure us that we get a nice tight glue bond. And there we go, you guys. That is a perfect joint. Given this top was pretty well done when I got it, but still, it wasn't perfect. So I can tell already, I don't see any gaps in that. We're looking really nice. I'm going to use the Sean from Owen Luthier method to glue this top up. We'll do away with our shooting board. I'm going to grab my piece of granite and we're going to glue this top up on the granite. First of all, let's take a piece of wax paper. Run it down the center of this thing. This is thin masking tape and it stretches decently without breaking. That's going to allow us to not have to use any clamps on this guitar other than the one we put here and the one we put here to make sure we stay centered, which for that we're going to use these. You don't need very much glue. I've probably used too much like I always do. Once we put these together, you want to rub them back and forth. That creates a bond like a vacuum. Now, we're going to use tape. I'm going to take some decently long pieces. I'm going to stretch it. We'll pull this together. Tape it. And go. This is such a fantastic way to glue up a top. You don't need much pressure. All we're wanting to do is make sure we've got that center joint down against the granite, which will give us a super nice glue joint. There we go. And that's how I like to glue up a top. What we need to do now is figure out a center line on this body. That's going to be pretty easy. We've got a tapered center running down this guitar. All we really have to do is find the center of that tapered piece of red heart. That will be our center line for this body. Double check ourselves visually. It matters. That looks really good. Let's take our square and copy that center line over to the side so we can see this when our top goes on. I'm going to wait on that glue to set up and we'll come back, get the top glued on here, and we can start getting some work done on this thing soon, you guys. It's coming. All right, you guys, first of all, I got a haircut. I pretty much had to. It's getting warmer here, and before we know it, it's going to be summertime. I did not want to fight that bush that was growing on top of my head when it starts getting 95 degrees outside. So I trimmed up for the summer. I hope that's okay. I promise you, I'm still the same person down on the inside. I want to get the top glued up, and I've got the body prepped over there. I've got the top set. We'll take a look at it. This is a quilted maple, and it's rolling quilt. It's highly figured, as you can see. Beautiful chatoyance. So this is the body, you guys. Look at that beautiful Amazique in the middle. And I think that's pretty much the same wood as Ovancal. I'm not sure of that, but that's what Gio's telling me that he thinks it is. And I can believe that. It looks really similar. All I really need to do is glue this top on. So we need to get ourselves some clamping cauls ready. And I need to get some clamps at the ready. Let me get this set up. We'll come right back, do this thing. The method I've developed for gluing on a top has worked out really well for me over the past couple of times that I've done this. And I'm going to continue to do it this way. So I'm going to pan down here and show you guys how I've been doing this lately, if you haven't seen it in a previous video. But what I've been doing is drilling locator pins in two opposite corners of the body blank. That will help me assure that my top does not move once I start to put these clamping cauls on here. And that way our center lines stay where they need to be. So all I'm going to do is make sure that the center line of my top is lined up with the center line that I've got drawn on that red heart. I'll hold this down so it doesn't move. Now I got two clamps on here. We'll double check and make sure our center lines are where they need to be, and they are. So let's flip this over. 2mm drill bit. Do the same thing. As long as you're off, you know, the part of the top that your body's going to encompass, it's not a problem. I need a toothpick or a piece of one, which I've got right here. I'll gently tap this until I'm sure I'm in the body wood. Then we can clip this off. Now all I really need to do is take some thin super glue, saturate that area. And the reason I use the thin is because, first of all, it soaks into the wood and I make sure nothing moves. But secondly, it doesn't build up on the surface and won't cause us an issue when it comes to time to glue the top on, which that time is now. Let's get some glue spread out on this thing. I am anxious to get this going. So I'm using the Tech Bond glue. You guys have seen this before. And I have bought myself a new little spreader tool. This thing's got notched edges in it. And I'm going to spread this glue with this. If you've got any hunks of stuff, dried glue or whatever, built up in the glue that accidentally got in there, this thing will rake those right away. Pretty cool tool for $1, I think. All right, we're free of gaps. I don't see any on that side. I don't see any on this side. Let's spin this thing around. Now let's give all these clamps another little cinch. All right, everybody, we're going to wrap the video up right here. Here's my body blank. The top's glued on. I got a nice glue joint. We've got a well-defined center line already marked out on this top. I've got some work to do to the back of the body, just like we did the front. I didn't bother doing any of that before we go further on this thing and actually start to draw out the shape. In the next video, what we're going to do is drill in some alignment pins so I can use my Maximum Guitar Works Fit All templates to get the neck pocket and the pickups routed into the front of this body blank, then we'll start to draw out a shape on this thing. I still have not allowed myself to think about a shape. We're doing that off the cuff. I want to do it while it's fresh, and I want you guys to witness the creation process on that body shape as I do it myself. I think that's a cool way to build. You learn to overcome problems that you run into when you're doing it that way. I've learned so many lessons that way, and they tend to stick with me because of that. One more thing, I actually had forgotten that I even had all this footage that I just showed in this video. It's been sitting in my computer for 3 weeks waiting on me to release this video to YouTube. As you guys saw in the very beginning, I still had long hair, or longer hair, my bushy sheepdog hair. I've since gotten a haircut. Most of you guys know that already because of the giveaway build videos that I've been releasing. Speaking of the giveaway, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, you guys. It's the only requirement to be entered to win that guitar. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date as I release videos for that build, as well as every other thing I got going on here in the shop. We're almost done with the Ultimate Stratocaster builds. Gio's actually done already. He's waiting on me. I ran into some finish issues, but I've got that sorted. I'm almost done with mine. You should be seeing a video released on that pretty soon here on my channel, and we'll wrap that series up. That is going to allow me to move back to the Uni-T build as well as the giveaway build. What I'm trying to start preparing myself for now is the Great Guitar Build Off 2023. Ben has said in a couple of the live streams that the announcement will be made here shortly. He's also said that he's thinking sometime in April's when the start date's going to be. So I got a feeling once he announces the start date, it's not going to be but a couple of weeks after that until we're actually ready to roll. I'm looking so forward to that, you guys. I know so many of you are too. I can't wait to see what gets made this year by everyone. I've got some pretty major plans going on myself for it. And Gio and I are actually talking about something that's really cool for the Great Guitar Build Off. So I hope you guys will continue to visit the channel. Thank you so much, you guys, for all the killer comments you leave for me. I'll try to keep content coming. As always, until the next video, peace and love.